Hi, this is Barry here, and you're very welcome to today's podcast episode from WriteCome.com. And today's podcast episode is entitled, How Big is Your Glass? Now, I'm going to start today's podcast episode off with a quick quote from Les Brown, and it's, you can't fit a big dream into a small life. And I'd also say you can't fit a big business into a small person. If you imagine if you took a large pitcher of water, the pitcher is full to the brim, and you've got a small drinking glass. And you go ahead and put the small drinking glass down on the countertop, and then you start pouring the water into the glass. For certain that there's going to be a certain point that you're going to reach on that glass where it's just not going to be able to hold anymore, and then it's going to start to overflow. It's going to go all over the countertop. And you also know that if you keep pouring more and more water into it, it doesn't matter how much water you're going to get. You're never going to get the full contents of that jug into that small glass. If you want the full contents to go into that glass, you're going to need a bigger glass. Or you're going to need another pitcher of the same kind of volume that can hold all that water. But for a lot of people, they don't actually think about that. It might seem commonplace with the water, but for a lot of people in life and in business, they don't think about that. They may dream of being somebody who is creating $1,000 a month. They may have this lofty goal that, in 6 months now and a year from now, I am going to be making all that money. But at the end of the day, right now, they probably only have the makings of maybe they're only a $10 guy. They only have that that's the value they're bringing to the marketplace. They're nowhere actually near that $10,000 a month a person. They haven't got the mindset. They haven't got the action. They haven't got the perseverance. They haven't got whatever they need to turn up every day, to create content, to show up on days when they don't want to do that, to step outside their comfort zone or whatever it is. But they have this lofty goal of the 10,000 a month, but they're not at that height yet. You might have maybe somebody who dreams of being a best-selling fiction author, and they're the same person that can't stay in the seat for longer than 5 minutes. That goal of having that book completed in the Amazon store and selling well. It's a good goal to have. Is that person big enough actually to get there? Are they doing the actions again, getting out of the comfort zone, showing up, sitting down on the seat and writing for hours at a time, even though they don't want to write that day or whatever it is. Again, they're probably a small glass compared to that big picture of that goal of the finished book. You maybe have somebody else who maybe is jealous of people on Instagram or Facebook that has a huge social following. They want to be something like that. They want to have the 1,000 followers or the couple of thousand followers on Facebook. They want to have all those people following the Instagram. They want to be a social media influencer. And yet, it's hard for them even maybe to create a full week's content and put on Instagram. They do a couple of posts here and there, and then it drops off for a couple of days, and then show up maybe a week later, put another few posts, and they have this lofty goal of being this big social media influencer, which is like this huge pitcher of glass, and yet they're the small glass that hasn't got the talent or hasn't got or the motivation or showing up or whatever it is that needs to be. They don't realize that they actually need to take on whatever they need to take on. Do the work on days when they don't want to show up. Be consistent, get out of the comfort zone and whatever it is. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't think like that. For a lot of us, you need to put in the hours, you need to read the books, you need to get out of your comfort zone, and you need to show up, and nobody knows that you're doing that. If you imagine like a boxer or whatever who's trained for a tournament, you might only see them for maybe the 15 or 20 minutes or whatever they're in the boxing ring, and you don't see all the early mornings when they're getting up and running on empty streets, maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, all the hours that they've spent in the gym when nobody else is there, and staying on longer than everybody else, or showing up early, and the grinds and the sets and the weights and the punch bag and all that. You don't see all that. And for a lot of people, they aren't willing to put in that work, and because of that, they're like a small glass. Same goes for all of us. There's probably a millionaire in you right now. There's probably the makings of somebody who is going to have a huge online business. There probably is the making of a great, fantastic, fiction author in you. Maybe there's a great blogger in you, or there's so much talent in you. But at the moment, you are this small glass. That lofty goal, is while it's great to have it, you're going to have to realize to yourself, if you want to reach that goal, you need to become more than you are. Imagine what size of glass are you at the moment? What size do you need to grow to take on that volume? What skills do you need to take on? The consistency, the showing up, the more knowledge you need to take on, and slowly over time, like as Jim Rohn said once, Everybody should have the goal of creating $1 million or being a millionaire. And he said it wasn't just for the fact that you would have $1 million, after the year or whatever length of period of time you had set this goal for, but it was the fact that what type of person would you become, because you had become a millionaire. You probably would have got out of your comfort zone. You would have done things you've never ever thought you could have done before. You would have showed up consistently. You would have showed up when people weren't even looking or maybe even cared about you. And, by forcing yourself to do the actions that you need to do, to find the information, to be hard on yourself, not let up on yourself, and consistently grind again and again and again, day after day after day, you would become a big enough glass that you would, you would provide $1 million of service, or you would sell $1 million of products, or whatever it is. So whatever you are doing today, I just want to ask you just to maybe think about yourself at the moment. What size of glass am I? If I have this lofty goal, which is this huge pitcher of water that I want to reach, and I am, a small, as I said, you could be, this $10 person or $1,000 person or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter what level you're at the moment. But I'm sure compared to that other goal, it probably seems huge. But, you are this small glass. So think to yourself, what do I need to take on? How do I need to grow? How do I need to show up? What skills do I need to take on? Do I need to get more out of my comfort zone? And the more you do that, the larger the glass you'll have, the glass you'll become, and the more kind of you get closer to that goal. And you'll be able to, when that pitcher is pouring on top of you, you'll be able to hold more. And you'll need to realize that you need to grow to actually get there, rather than staying where you are at the moment, because the person you are at the moment, isn't probably good enough to be a best-selling author. The person you are at the moment probably isn't good enough to be a big fiction author. Maybe the person you are at the moment isn't whatever it is. There's probably whatever you're looking to get, you probably aren't big enough for that. So you need to work on yourself. You need to show up. You need to be consistent. You need to do the actions when nobody is looking. And the more you do that, the more you grow, the more you will be like that picture, the more of the content you'll be able to hold, and the closer you'll be to your goal. Now, I hope this podcast episode made you think. And if it did, or you'd like to know more about me, you can find more over here on the WriteCome site. If you want to come over to WriteCome. Or again, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, and maybe you might know somebody who would appreciate it and might learn maybe a few things from it, if you want to send them over to the website, or you can send them over to iTunes as well. We have all the podcast episodes over there. So as always, thanks for sharing your time with me again today, and take care and have a great day. Bye bye.